Have you ever wondered why we sometimes get unwanted, impure thoughts in our heads? They pop up when we least expect them, and it can be frustrating. Our minds are a bit like tricky friends. If we don't watch over them, they can lead us into trouble. But if we learn to control our minds, we can achieve amazing things. We often try to stop those impure thoughts, but it seems like the harder we try, the more they bother us. It's a bit like when you try to run away from something, and it keeps following you. So, maybe instead of fighting them, we should find a way to get along with these thoughts. Once, a young man approached Gautama Buddha and said, "Hey Buddha, why do such impure thoughts arise in my mind? I don't want these impure thoughts to enter my mind. I constantly struggle with thoughts of desire, and they trouble me greatly. My energy and time are wasted on these thoughts, and because of them, I can never find inner peace. I always get infatuated when I see women, and I can't seem to control myself." Buddha smiled and asked the young man, "Do you know what desire is?" The young man replied, "I'm not sure what desire is, but it seems like it is a very bad thing." Then Buddha said to him, "First, you need to understand that naturally, whatever exists within us is not inherently bad. There is some need for it in our lives. Desire is not a bad thing. It's an emotion in our mind that makes us aware of a lack of something, and then we are attracted towards fulfilling that need. For example, if you lack wealth, you will develop a desire for it. This doesn't mean desire is bad. Rather, it's a recognition of a certain need in our mind, and when that need is physical, we call it desire." The young man said to Gautama Buddha, "Buddha, I understand the meaning of desire now, but can you please tell me where it comes from and how it arises?" Gautama Buddha replied, "Desire doesn't come from somewhere external. It arises within us, and its presence is necessary for the expansion and growth of the human race." The young man asked, "If desire arises within us and is necessary, then why do people consider it wrong?" Buddha replied, "That is the problem. People have misunderstood desire and have tried to hide and suppress it. Desire itself is not wrong. What's wrong is using desire inappropriately. People start living solely for what they desire, constantly thinking about it, and that is where it goes wrong." Buddha then asked the young man, "Do you know that even animals have desires?" The young man replied, "Yes, even animals have desires because ultimately they too want to propagate their species." Buddha then said, "So why don't we consider the desires of animals wrong?" The young man responded, "I don't know, Mahatma, please enlighten me." Gautama Buddha said, "Animals use their desires only for the purpose of reproduction. They do not use them for attainment. Nature has not endowed animals with the understanding to make desire the basis of their happiness. On the other hand, humans, with the power of their intellect, use everything available in nature for their own pleasure. We, humans, have turned desire into the means of our happiness, while nature has only provided it to us for the propagation of our species. Thus, making desire uncontrollable in this way is considered wrong." The young man asked Buddha, "Mahatma, why do desires dominate us? Why do they become uncontrollable?" To this, Gautama Buddha replied, "Listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you. Pay close attention, and you will understand the entire play of desire, and all your questions will be answered. You just need to listen and understand." Then, Gautama Buddha began to narrate a story. Once upon a time, in an ashram, there was a guru and his disciples. The disciples would go to the villages nearby every day to seek alms and take initiation. On the way, there was a river they had to cross to reach the village where they begged for alms. One day, while on his way to seek alms, a disciple noticed a boy hiding behind a tree. He approached the boy and asked, "Brother, what are you hiding behind this tree for?" The boy replied, "Can't you see what I'm looking at?" When the disciple looked towards the river, he saw some girls, around 14 to 15 years old, filling water. The disciple said, "Hey, brother, those girls are just fetching water. What's so special about hiding and watching this?" The boy then looked at the disciple and said, "Are you blind? Can't you see what I'm doing?" how these fairies are drawing water from the river. Look at their grace, their delicate bodies, the way their slender waists sway as they lift the water, and how their hair dances on their backs. It's like beauty scattered all around. The disciple turned his gaze towards the river, and this time he couldn't help but keep looking. Until now, he hadn't noticed anything, and he was completely fearless. He had no fear of anything at that moment. He began to hide and watch the girls again, as if he had committed a wrongdoing. While he was hiding and observing the girls, a shiver ran through him once more. He questioned himself, "What am I doing? What I am doing is not right. I should leave from here." He quickly departed from the scene and returned to the ashram. Back at the ashram, he immersed himself in his daily activities, but the image of what he had seen kept recurring in his mind. The same scene continued to play in his thoughts. His mind was consumed by the desire to see it again. He found it difficult to focus on anything else. As soon as morning arrived, he hurriedly left the ashram to seek alms and went back to the tree near the river, where the boy had been previously. Together with the boy, he once again hid and watched the girls. He continued this behavior daily, and his mind no longer found solace in any task. He was constantly entangled in various thoughts. He couldn't perform the ashram's duties properly, couldn't sleep well, and couldn't eat properly. His mind was restless, and it repeatedly craved to see the beauty of those girls. Even when the guru gave them alms, his mind wandered elsewhere. One day, the guru observed these actions of his disciple. So, he called the disciple to his side and said, "Starting today, I will go with you to seek alms. You and I will go together for alms." The disciple, trying to dissuade his guru, said, "No, Guruji, why are you getting troubled? I can manage to seek alms on my own." The guru said to the disciple, "All right, you can go seek alms on your own." After the disciple left, the guru also left the ashram to follow his disciple. Curious about where he was going and whom he was meeting, he began trailing his disciple, trying to see where he was headed and whom he was meeting. After a short distance, the guru saw that his disciple was hiding behind a tree with another boy and was peering as if he were a criminal. The guru saw that his disciple was secretly watching the girls who were filling water from the river. The guru, standing behind his disciple, asked, "Are you going to seek alms from these girls as well?" Upon hearing the guru's voice, the disciple became anxious, and he began to sweat profusely. The disciple was trembling as if he had been caught red-handed, much like a thief apprehended with stained hands. His condition had worsened, and he couldn't utter a word. The boy who had been with the disciple had fled, leaving the disciple even more flustered. He could only stammer and mumble. He didn't have the courage to make eye contact with his guru. The guru looked at his disciple and said, "My disciple is fearless. He's not afraid of anything. But, what's this? You're shivering in fear." The disciple, feeling guilty, said, "Please forgive me. I am not at fault. That boy misled me. But I promise you that I will never do such a thing again. Please forgive me." Guruji said, "It's all right. But remember, we receive the consequences of the company we keep. The thoughts of those we associate with enter us, so choose good company to allow positive thoughts to enter you." Afterward, the guru and the disciple returned to the ashram and began focusing on their ashram duties once more. The disciple abandoned that path and started using another route. He diligently carried out his work, but slowly, anger began to brew within him. He started getting angry with other disciples and became restless. He no longer ate his meals at the proper time. He also ate very little food. One night, the guru came to the disciple and said, "You had promised me that you would control your mind. How many times have you broken your promise so far?" Hearing this, the disciple fell at his guru's feet and began to cry. While crying, he said to his guru, "Guru Dev, I have broken my promise many times. Then I make the promise again. But every time I break the promise, I don't know if my mind is under my control or not. I try very hard to remove all bad thoughts from my mind, but even though I want to, I cannot do it." Then the guru took the disciple to the ashram garden and said, "Look here. There are some channels made here through which the river's water is reaching these plants, and this water is constantly flowing with devotion. Can you stop the flow of this water? The disciple said, Yes, Guru Dev, I can stop this flow. Then the disciple picked up some soil and placed it at the edge of the channel. The water stopped for a while, and then, after a short time, the water flowed over the sand. The Guru asked the disciple, What is this? The water didn't stop. Then the disciple picked up some small stones and put them in the channel, and again, the water stopped. For a short while, but after a while, the water flowed over the rocks. The Guru said, What happened? The water has come back. Can we completely stop something? Then the disciple said, All right, Guru Dev, I can stop this water for you. Then he picked up a large stone and placed it in the channel. The water stopped. The disciple proudly said, See, Guru Dev, I said I would stop the water, and I have shown it. I have fulfilled your words. The Guru smiled and said, Well, look closely. Has the water really stopped? It just changed its path by breaking the side of the channel, and if you observe, it has come out from the other side as well. Pay attention. It's also flowing around this stone, and eventually, it will find its way forward again. After a while, exactly as the Guru had explained, the water resumed its flow. The Guru then explained to the disciple, Your life is similar. You are making efforts repeatedly, trying your best, but every time, your efforts are breaking, just like this channel. Your thoughts, represented by the water, will always find a way around, no matter how big a stone you put in their path. Upon seeing this, the disciple asked, Guru Dev, isn't there any way I can keep impure thoughts out? The Guru replied, There is one way. This water comes from the river. You can only change the path of this water from there. The Guru took the disciple to a river from where water was flowing into a garden. He told the disciple, Well, this water is coming from this very river. If we block its path here, can't we stop the water? The disciple replied, Yes, Guruji, it's possible. I can block this water right here. Then it won't go further into the canal. And then, no water went into the garden. The Guru said, If the water doesn't enter the garden, how will the trees and plants get the water they need? The disciple pondered and said, I didn't even think of that. The water's entry into the garden is indeed necessary. The Guru continued, And there are some trees and plants that rely on daily watering. Otherwise, they wither and die. So, we must let the water flow. Upon hearing the Guru's words, the disciple opened the path for the water. Then the Guru asked, What would happen if we diverted the entire flow of this river towards the garden? The disciple replied, Guru Dev, there are so many trees and plants there, they will all wither and be destroyed, and nothing will be left. The Guru smiled and said, Understand this, we should not try to stop anything. We should always maintain balance. Both too little and too much water can harm the plants. Our life functions through balance. Then the Guru asked the disciple, If I tell you not to think about mangoes, what will be the first image that comes to your mind? The disciple replied, Guru Dev, the first image that will come to my mind is indeed a mango. The Guru said, When we forcefully try to suppress impure thoughts, they enter us even more strongly. That's why we should never attempt to suppress them. Then the Guru told the disciple, Our impure thoughts also come from associating with negative influences. Sometimes, there might not be any inherent lust within us, but due to exposure to explicit content, it can take hold of us. Then the disciple said, Guru Dev, you are absolutely right. I had lost my way. Afterwards, that disciple slept peacefully that night. In the morning, he carried out his duties with a focused mind. Then, in the morning, he went to beg for alms, using the same path where he had seen the young boy secretly watching the girls the previous day. The disciple reached the river where the girls were fetching water. He asked them for some water, and one of the girls gave him water to drink and touched his feet. The disciple blessed her for her well-being, which filled him with positive energy. A smile had returned to his face, as if he had found something he had lost. He began to walk back along his path. Just then, the young boy who had been hiding behind the tree came up from behind. He approached the disciple and said, "What's going on? Today, you got a closer look. You surpassed even me." The disciple replied, "We are always busy looking at others, but we rarely find time to look at ourselves. How long will you keep hiding behind this tree? Choose someone you like and express your feelings. If they also like you, get married. But before that, make something of yourself. Recognize yourself. Don't waste your time like this." Then the young boy started meeting the disciple regularly, inspiring him not to go to the river anymore, and the young boy began striving to make something of himself in life. So, you've seen the influence of association, haven't you? Change your company, change your thoughts. The guru asked the disciple, "Have you found answers to all your questions?" The disciple then said, "Mahatmaji, thank you for your guidance." The guru responded by saying that when impure thoughts come into your mind, don't consider yourself guilty. This body has learned from thousands of years. It won't break just from your thinking or taking an oath. However, you have the power, the energy, which you should use in balance. You are a living energy free to experience anything. Therefore, recognize yourself. As days passed, the young man kept working hard to beat his impure thoughts. With the help of Gautama Buddha, he learned more about how his mind worked. During meditation, he started noticing that these impure thoughts were like clouds in the sky. They'd come and go. He realized that it was okay to have desires, but they didn't have to control him. One day, while meditating under a big tree, a profound realization washed over him. He saw that desire, when not managed, was like a wild river that caused trouble. But by paying attention and thinking about it, he could change where that river flowed. Excited, he went to Buddha and shared his insight. Buddha smiled and said, "You're on the right track, my friend. You can't erase desire, but you can use it for good. It can push you to become a better person and help others." I hope you enjoyed the story so far and learned something new from it. If you did, please show your support by subscribing to this channel. This will motivate me to create more interesting and informative stories for you. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for the next video with a new story.